What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the garage. So, been a while, but I've got a little bit of an update for you. I've been working on pulling the D16 out of the EK Civic, and I've got that out. And the plan, as I've mentioned before, I think, is to swap that out for a B18B1. So that will put me from the 105 horsepower of the D16 up to about 140 horsepower stock. And then the plan is to actually turbocharge that B18. So make this a little bit of a fun car. But before we put that B18 in, there's going to be a lot of cleanup of the engine bay and the engine itself. And right now, I'm just going to be working on cleaning up the engine bay. So I'll take you around, show you a little bit in the engine bay, what I'm planning to do, and yeah, let's get at it. Alright, so we're in the engine bay now. Please excuse the mess. It's just a disaster in here. Still cleaning up a lot of the fluids that came out when I was pulling the engine. But the plan for this car is to make it kind of a show car. So I'm going to be pulling off just about everything, polishing all the metal in the engine bay, and tucking the wire harness. So you can see the wire harness over here. It's a pretty simple wiring harness actually on these cars. So that is going to be primarily tucked in the fender, and then either come out around the headlight or underneath to attach all the connectors on the engine. And yeah, and then on this side, the same thing. Right around here is mostly just a lot of the headlight and the radiator fan control, or I guess this is the AC condenser here, not the radiator. So all that's going to be tucked in the fender as well. So will be pretty much, hopefully, a wire-free engine bay. I'm still not sure what I'm going to do with the brake system, whether or not I'm actually going to pull that apart and tuck it, or if I'm just going to leave it where it is, polish up all the lines and the distribution block, and just leave it in there. So I've also got a couple things. The clutch master cylinder reservoir is going to be replaced with a K-tuned reservoir. So right now, the way Honda builds them, it's a little bit of a remote reservoir that goes down to the clutch master cylinder below it. And instead of that, the K-tune sits right on the clutch master cylinder and just kind of cleans up that area. So of course, on Canadian cars, we have our daytime running light control here. So I'm going to have to look a little bit into the wiring on how to remove that. Of course, that's generally not allowed in Canada, but we need a clean engine bay. So I'm going to be removing that. This car is mostly just goes to shows, and we'll go to the odd track day. It's not a daily drive or anything like that. So not a huge deal. Yeah, other than that, like I say, polishing everything. So I've got some Yanaka engine mounts that are also going to go in. I'm thinking about doing traction bars on it, because with the turbo B18, I'm going to have probably some traction issues. So maybe just do a couple things for traction there, and the rest of it is mostly going to be show for this season. I don't really have any plans right now to head up to the racetrack near us, so closest one is like a 3-hour drive. So and I'd want to tow this, so it's not the easiest effort to get out to the track, unfortunately, around here. But yeah, so let's get started. I'm going to just do a couple things today. Just going to wrap the engine harness, because another thing I should mention is the engine bay is going to be completely painted. So this is a Vogue Silver metallic car, and unfortunately Honda cheaped out, and they didn't actually do Vogue Silver on the engine bay. It's basically just the base layer here. There's no metal flake to it other than the overspray from painting the rest of the car. And so I really want to clean that up and make it flow nicely with the rest of the car. I don't really want to do a cross contrasting engine bay, because I think with my polish bits, color the car, and a couple other things that I want to do, I'm going to have more than enough kind of colorways going on here, so I don't really want to add another colorway to the engine bay. But anyways, let's get started. So we're not going to be doing a heck of a lot in this video, so don't expect huge changes. But we're going to remove the headlight. We're going to just pull things like this grounding strap, pull the engine mount, and we're going to bag up this harness so we can paint around it, and then also take the fuse box off and just move it out so we can paint it. I'm also going to be doing things like grinding down any rust around here and then filling these dimples, or these spot welds, I guess. Just going to be, doing some Bondo over top of that to make this all one smooth unit. Eventually we'll get rid of the seam sealer here and smooth that out as well, so you get that really nice look that a lot of guys with shaved engine bays have, of just a nice flow. Another thing I'm going to be doing in another video is I want to create something to cover this, just to clean up this section here, to make it a little bit more easy on the eyes, make it flow a little bit. So when this car goes to show, I'm not going to have a hood on it. So I'm going to just build a nice transition up here and yeah, just make it look nice and clean. So, alright, let's start taking apart stuff. Just making sure I label. There's a few plugs that go into the fuse box here, labeling each one with a number, because I'm too dumb to figure that stuff out after. Alright, so that's about all we're going to do for today. Just a very simple work. As you can see, got that all cleaned up. Well, got the wires out of the way at least, and it needs to be majorly cleaned. I got the headlight out, and kind of the headlight harness is, ready to be tucked behind the fender there. One nice thing that I was, a little bit worried early on with this car is checking underneath the battery tray for any rust. And while it is really discolored, as you can see, there doesn't appear to be any major rust, which is great. So unfortunately, the way that's set up on these cars, the battery tray, if the battery leaks a little bit, it leaks right down onto the frame rail there, I guess, if you can call it that. And fortunately, that's majorly structural, so if you've got any rust there, it's not going to be a happy day. But anyways, so we're ready to start cleaning up the side of the engine bay and getting ready for paint. I still haven't removed the engine mount, as you can see. So especially with these old Hondas that have a little bit of corrosion on the bolts, I like to be super careful. Don't want to hit it with a heavy impact gun, because if I strip out the threads, then I'm in for a world of hurt. So going to spray these down with some penetrating oil, and look at doing that tomorrow. But anyways, just a very quick day in the garage. We'll get back at it tomorrow. And I really hope this video makes it onto YouTube. I've been finding lately I make a lot of videos and I just hate them, so they have never ended up on YouTube. But I'm going to try to make sure this one makes it onto YouTube. Thanks for coming along on my journey here. Hopefully it's a little bit interesting to you, and it's definitely interesting to me. So I want to take you guys along with the progression of this car into a little bit of a show car, a little bit of a track car. But either way, we're going to have fun. Let's do this.